strolled in, fallen down the stairs, welcome to the Cellar Bar. Some familiar faces and sounds. Make some noise because they're going to self-abuse!
I'm just doing security in case anybody tries to mob you.
All right, thanks very much, mate. Nice to see somebody's got our backs. Yeah. Bloody rabble. Radical change came back in.
It was Radical Change that was part of Bank's record, was run by a band called The Disruptors at the time, and they liked us and asked us to do a single, so we did. Didn't want to be a soldier.
I didn't want to be a soldier, I didn't want to learn to. It's not my idea of fun to learn how to shoot a gun. So when they say to me, come on son, I'll show you how it's done. Done, done. Coming on a month, and my rag got me in a tank. Didn't want to be a soldier, carrying out the right. It's a long way, now goes the way. Still one minute soldier. It's not my idea of fun to learn how to shoot a gun. So when the second
I beg to differ.
Did it sound alright then? Is that alright? Do you want to do it here? Yeah. Do it by the kill away.
Jarvis isn't allowed here because he puts penis in a very bad place.
Are you right doing it?
Kill a while.
Yeah. He put it in the blowhole.
With them.
Yeah, it's been blocked up.
That's why.
Jarvis getting his wicked way.
We were in a band called Bad Penny, weren't we? And that came to an end.
I think it
and
was,
then we just kind of realised, it was 20 years ago, and we just sort of said...
It was external interest. There was suddenly an interest in the band. It was an American label that wanted to put our old stuff out. You know, we were thinking, what do you want to do that for? You know, it's 20 years ago. We were 16, and there was loads of interest in it.
And not only that, but around the same time, there was a good, like the youngsters, as it were. There was a good, again, it was the punk. There was a good punk scene in Bournemouth again, and he helped manage the Demonic Up charts. And there was a good scene, and it just seemed about the right time to come back and do it. And that would have been 2004, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The Up Trucks were around in what, late 90s, wasn't it?
97, 98
yeah,
to
that's
about
when
2010.
Yeah, and I was looking after you in the beginning, and lending you kit and getting you rehearsal studios and
So
play again, that's not right.
But yeah,
But they got bloody good though.
It was good. But again, there was a decent scene back then. Much like there probably was in the 80s, like
just
with you
came out
guys.
of
I think
nowhere.
that was probably like there were rock bands and stuff about. They weren't really like punk bands, and there seemed a massive surge like in the kind of I guess early 2000s and stuff where there was like Spit Roast, you know, and whatnot, and Taxidermist and all that stuff, and, and it all just kind of excelled. Yeah,
back to the whole thing of making your own fun, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was good. It was a good time, wasn't it?
For
Bournemouth music, I think, really. But I guess it was punk rock, man. That's kind of what I grew up listening to. Started playing drums from like 14. Just sat in my room like any teenager, just bashing the hell out of a drum kit and trying to learn the drums. And started playing in a band with my brother and his best mate Alex, and we started the Upchucks in 97, 98, whatever it was. I was like 14 at the time. We did our first recording when I was like 15.
God, so that's a cute photographs.
Yeah. I was no shorter. I was probably about the same height, I think. Really. Oh, no, probably. No, I was probably about that height. And yeah, that was great fun. We started off. There was no real scene in Bournemouth. It was there was a few rock bands and stuff, and it was hard. We just played gigs just in front of no one really. We just literally booked a pub, got banned from it, got kicked out. Every pub or venue we played at, we kind of got banned from or kicked out of. Like the first gig was at what is the Sound
Circus now, like Lion's Head
was the
pub.
Gardener's Hut. Yeah. We had a load of pig parts. And we started throwing them around everywhere. It was like a load of pig hooves and hearts and stuff, and we started launching them around everywhere. No, we threw them at security. We were just launching them about. I mean, we were like 15, 16. We thought it was hilarious, but they got really shit. He literally kicked us out the side door with all our gear, and they're like, "Fuck off! There's your 15 minutes of fame." And we were out there with like a crate of beer and just like loads of bits of drum kit and stuff, and just like just.
That's when I came along, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then John came along and kind of instilled this kind of like
the regimentation
was
going on,
hard work.
Get it together. Normality, but that probably wouldn't be the
case. He did. I don't know. He managed to whip us into shape, and it was just that kind of like we met up every week. We practiced songs, and we practiced them hard, and he kind of in fairness, like Jarvis really helped. He turned us into a proper band where we were writing songs and actually trying to sound good instead of just
it
turning
didn't take many minutes though, did it?
Jarvis was great. He got us a load of good gigs, kind of helped promote things, and just kind of kept everything really buoyant and good locally, really.
Yeah.
And that kind of led to this, really. And these guys, like, from the first days, remember Jarv, like, going on about this band he used to play in Self-Abuse, and remember having these really old cassettes and, like, listening to them going, actually, yeah, you guys were fucking really good, like, why don't you get your band back together? And he was like, oh, no, that'll never happen. And then, yeah, it's just funny how it's kind of turned around to kind of ended up playing with them all, really, in a funny kind of strange way. Really.
The next duology. There is it. Only one. I think. We've got a technical.
Well, to begin with, there wasn't really any punk people around, so it was just like BMX kids, skaters, and people that looked the part, all sorts of strays and ways. So I used to be there and look after them and make sure there was no mess, like Charlie Peroni's circus. Well, kind of thing, social worker, godfather, whatever you want to call it. But then gradually, as people got the gist of what was going on, and this is different, this is new. Well, it was old, but it was new to them, to that generation, and then they started looking up and sort of looking in the history books and things and developed their own take on it, and before you knew where you were, there were like queues of people. And so that when we came back, we had all the old people, or the people back in our day, and this new generation to see me, like chain smoking, could smoke on stage there and being drunk, and they go, look at him, he really could do it. Well, just about, before I fell over.
They weren't just bluffing, they could actually. No, they're quite good, really.
Strike the scarf anyway.
Bloody scar music, mate, isn't it?
Right, you?
Ladies and gentlemen,
interrupting
Sean from the
Sporadics.
See you in a minute, Sean.
Coochie coo.
He was one of the Salisbury lot, you know.
Yeah.
What sort of stuff did he go for?
Well, he started off punk, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then he's doing ska, narco ska now.
Punk is
Yeah, he's
back
still
on the
playing.
Sporadics,
Yeah, they're doing
all
all right.
right for himself. In fact, Dave, he'll hate me saying this, but Dave from the Sporadics used to be our roadie, didn't he?
He did. Yeah.
We taught him everything.
We taught him everything. Do we get any thanks?
And now, no, you don't even come to the
You
gigs.
don't come, we don't call. You don't pick up our gear anymore. Love you, Dave.
There's one major change I did notice, like when I was looking after like your generation of the punks.
Yeah.
Was that they were really like, we hated older people. We're not listening to you, two fingers. But they would come up and say, well, did you really play with that band? Did you see that band live? Did you do this? Did you do that? Is that a picture of you in that book stood next to that guy? And they were really into like what you did. Whereas we were like two fingers up. We were very much into
like, that's the old generation, nothing to do with them, you know what I mean? Despite the fact that it was sorts of very, very good music. And later on, when you get a little bit more, you realise, blimey, you know, just being dismissive of stuff for no reason whatsoever. You know what I mean? It's a lot of it's still rebellious music, you know, because it comes from the 60s and, well, in the 50s, isn't it? You know, rock and roll it is in a funny sort of way, a little bit of...
What did they do it our way?
Yeah.
And that was the difference. But then I think it was perhaps a little bit harder for the modern generation to do it because there were so many distractions. That's the modern world, and we were able to focus a bit more on what we were doing because there was, you know, there was no Xboxes and things and all this modern stuff that didn't exist, you know. So you have people come up to you like outside a gig and shake your hand. My dad's got your records. Wow, is that really a picture of you? That's great. Yeah, I'm old.
I think I missed a few notes. Yes, and in the wrong place too. Anybody else meets? What? I'm Sean. He's gone. He's gone. He's disappeared. He's shrunken down like some. What did he say? He's usually so vocal.
It was our form of entertainment. Kids have Xboxes and stuff now. We did rock and roll. Like my older brother took me to punk gigs. You know, I was 14 and everything, 13, 14, and you saw the names that like you associate now with punk and everything, and that was brilliant. And I just thought, you know, yeah, all the places, and I just thought that's what I want to do one day when I'm a bit older. We started a long time ago, didn't we? When we were nippers. We were pretty young.
1982.
Yeah, 1982. I've gone the oldest, but I was still pretty young. It took a while to get the gear together and then work out how we were going to play because there weren't a lot of money around then, and there weren't very many jobs. And it took a little while to get it all sorted, and then when we did that, it was all right. You know, it just takes. You know, people don't realise. They think you have an instant band just like that, but you've got to work to get the money.
Back in the 80s, we played to punks. Didn't we? So they were the only people that came to the gigs. They were just punk rockers, spiky hair and whatever. It was the same sort of crowd. But now it's just anybody and everybody. You know, loads of different generations.
Going to those gigs are that much older, 20, 30 years older, but they're still around and they love it. When they always drinking their beer and stuff, God, that sounds like the old days. We love that. And you get older guys that were getting on a bit, even back when we started it. You know, they're like 60s and 70s now, and they'll still come up and go, "Wow, that's all right. That's all right." You know, we're quite surprised.
You're better than you were back in the day. Sometimes, if it was a good night.
Used to do like day trips and stuff. You were saying like where you'd literally hire a coach, fill it full of everyone.
You pick people up on the way through. You'd start up in Bournemouth, pick up in Port, pick people up in Port. If we were going out to the West Country or something, and then you might pick people up in Dorchester or Weymouth, and then you'd go to the venue, and everybody have a great time and barrel back on the coach at the end of the day. You know, they're all get dropped off at the respective.
We used to do minibus trips, like today trips, where you'd have everyone in the minibus, but not like proper coaches. That would have been probably quite dangerous.
It's better now because everything's more accessible with the internet. You know, you can do a demo, you put it online, anybody's got access to it. You know,
it's more. I should imagine it's more instant.
But
I'm sure the scenes are there. There's still plenty of punk gigs going on all over the place.
It's easy to link up with people in other towns and stuff. And you can bounce off emails and whatever, MySpace or Facebook or whatever the latest social media thing is to kind of keep in contact. And you know, much like these guys from here, isn't it? You know, like play with them on the Isle of Wight and stuff, and you kind of keep in contact via Facebook or whatever it is, or text or emails or whatever. It's great,
for back in the day, it was everything was done by post or telephone.
I just think teenage years were coming to an end. I think we probably just felt as if
I think the scene was coming to an end. Wasn't it? We felt it happening, so we thought we'd kind of like run out of time, and it was time to like finish on a high before you sort of dive bombed and it got too messy.
Yeah. It's crazy. How long were you guys? You were around for? I remember like Jarvis back in the day speaking to him. I couldn't believe how what short time originally.
Yeah.
You were around for. It was like how.
Well, it was around Christmas.
Well, it was 3 years.
4
years. Well, probably less than that. Actually, we were in existence for 3 years.
84.
Yeah, it was the whole of 82, 83, and we finished Christmas 84, didn't we?
We're not the most political band. I think politics exists in everything to a degree. But when we came back, just the title of it, No Change. Here we are. When we're playing back in the day, and it seemed like there seems to be a bit of a will for things to get better. Because you had nukes and and we thought, you know, that's sort of punk, sort of the anarcho.
And a lot's changed. They've got more conflicts and more instability now than they've ever had.
It's just the
Same
fact
with
it's
the
not
same
worse
old
now,
shares,
hence no change, you know, and it still resonates, and I think it's a good kicking tune as well, and I'll cut us blowing our own trumpets, but that's probably, but you know, I think it's a couple of the new ones, so we've got another new one called Under Attack, which is, again, similar sort of theme. It's difficult a way to get away from the stuff that's going on in the world without having a little bit of a comment about it. It just seems to come out that way, that there's still things to go about, you know, and you can't help but reflect it a little bit, I suppose. It's probably been done in a slightly different way, I would say, nowadays. Internet and whatever, and you know, I think, you know, it's not less of a punk thing now. If you're going to be really good at doing something, you'd be an excellent hacker, and you try to hack into these bastards or what have you, and cause a kerfuffle that way, rather than the tape scenario that Crass did back in the day.
I think people still are really vocal, aren't they? People still write stuff, and it's, you know, and it's just as you say, no change or whatever. It's no different now. Like, there's still so much to sing about. If you're not singing about Bush, you're singing about Trump, or there's always something to kind of like shout about. Margaret Thatcher, Theresa May. You know, it's kind of there's always something to kind of shout about, isn't there? In politics,
a little bit them and us,
perfect,
you know, and you're wrong. Because it's true, the world should be a nice, lovely place, and everybody takes care of each other. There's enough money to go around. Money's bullshit anyway. You know, we can power the old bloody world with solar. Why do we need? It's usual, religion and money. People have kind of gone a little bit what used to be called the clans. You know, you had your punk skins, mods, rockers, hippies, and as it's gone along, it's just gradually sort of gone a little bit more like that. I think, you know, it's more alternative thinking against, rather than. I mean, you know, not everybody got into punk rock. Some people just wanted to go down the pub and have a punch up like that, just like some people, you know.
It certainly was when we were in the 90s. Like, there was a big, you know, all the local skinheads and stuff that had been around since the like 70s, 80s in Bournemouth. You know, obviously Sharp Skins and stuff like that. You know, absolutely great people, and they were always behind everyone, and they, you know, it was very much part of the scene, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, they were there.
I used to like AD and Mark, and everyone were really supportive and really good, and kind of kept the punk and oi scene and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, it was good for them to see something happening in the same genre that they were interested, so they supported it, didn't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And always looked out for you. And
your
like
mindset was the right, you know, fitted, didn't it, into what they thought.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was all good.
Yeah, so people are just supportive of live music, and like, if you're in a band and you play music, it's like kind of, regardless of what style it is, like, we're all into different types of music. You were saying, like, you know, going through a phase of listening to different stuff.
Still are.
We all do. We all listen to other stuff. It's not like
where would we be for all the same?
24/7. So I guess with that, you end up seeing bands and, you know, 2-pint shot glass and stuff like that from the Isle of Wight. Slightly different stuff. They're great musicians, nice guys, and they're really good at what they do, and they write good tracks. And I think you just enjoy mingling with people that are into the same kind of things as yourself. They're into playing music, they're into playing live, and they just want to have a good time and create nights like this where everyone kind of has a laugh and a few beers and kind of shares a passion for music, really, more than anything, I think, really.
It's become its own style. It like all cult movements, the people doing it grow up, and then it becomes part of the normal culture. It's okay. It's lost some of its rebellion, but there's always something new to shout about. So it's still there.
Punk covers such a wide genre. I mean,
it always did.
Bands like the Buzzcocks are punk, and Conflict and Crass are punk, and yet the two bands are completely different.
Do you feel it's like a genre or more of a state of mind?
State of mind.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think there is. I think it's very difficult to shock. You know, it's.
You still get the shock element. Then you get some rap music and stuff like that, where, you know, Eminem or whatever it was. This is going back years now, but that's going back a while. So like today, you're right. There's nothing with that same. And then you had stuff like Slipknot that kind of shook up the metal scene a little bit for being a little bit more different. But there's nothing. Yeah, you're probably right, actually. Yeah.
It's a funny thing because, you know, I mean, in the space of time, I mean, time's a funny thing. The 50s aren't actually that long ago, and rock and roll up until fairly recently. It's all happened in a really condensed few years. You know, for somebody who's young nowadays, who's listens to alternative music or whatever you want to call it, they've got a hell of a lot of wading through that goes back to there. But we've been kind of, you know, I mean, we're getting on a bit now, but been quite lucky to have been quite close to it from there and have lived up until here. So it's hardly surprised that you can cast a little bit of a jaundiced eye over it, shall we say. But I think they're really still kind of, you know, there's always that element of, wait, who's going to be the next ones to go, bang, that's fucking, you know, and saying something.
And it's all about love and peace, man. That's what it's all about. No money, no religion, no wars. Fuck that shit. Show you how it's done.